Hey guys, I'm Dr. Tom Dawson, and today I want us to talk a little bit about antibiotics. Almost every family in my practice from one time to another is worried about antibiotics and taking them. Are they a good thing? Are they a bad thing? Will they cause my child any kind of long-term damage? So let's talk about them a little bit. I think the simplest definition for an antibiotic are poisons that kill germs, but that don't quite kill us. For instance, Lysol kills germs, but it kills us too, so we call that a poison. There's some substances, though, that do more damage to bacteria than they do to us, and so we call those things antibiotics. Now, since these things are mild poisons, it's not surprising that they may upset our stomach a little bit or give us a little bit of diarrhea, but those are worthwhile trade-offs in helping us fight off an infection. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about how antibiotics work. So most of the bad bacteria have cell walls surrounding them that hold the cells together. And for our purposes, we're going to pretend that bacteria have brick walls that are held together by mortar. And the early antibiotics were substances that destroyed or weakened that mortar between the bricks so that the cell walls would fall apart and that would kill the bacteria. Now, fortunately, our cells are not surrounded by brick cell walls. Ours, I think you can think of them as being surrounded by plastic, and so the substances that damage the mortar didn't hurt our cells. I would point out at this time also that viruses don't have cell walls at all. So taking antibiotics will not kill a virus. So let's talk a little bit about the myths about antibiotics. The first one being that taking them somehow weakens our immune system. And that's really not what's going on. What's going on is your body is fighting off a bacterial infection, and you take the antibiotic, and it's working on the mortar of the bacterial cells that are forming and keeping them from growing. So you're essentially cutting off the reinforcements to the infection. Your body still has to use its own immune system to fight off the bacteria that are already formed, that already had good cell walls, and you still are going to use your immune system. You're just buying a little bit of extra time with the antibiotic. The other concern or myth is that your child will get immune to the antibiotics if they take them too many times. We've already talked about that our cells have plastic cell surroundings, and so we're essentially immune to antibiotics already, so that really is not a risk. The real risk is that not your child becoming immune to the antibiotics, but the bacteria of the world becoming immune to antibiotics. And the more bacteria are around and exposed to antibiotics, the more they figure out how to adapt and modify so that they can become immune to antibiotics. And this has happened over the course of the last 60 or 70 years, where a lot of antibiotics that used to work for us, now the bacteria are immune to those antibiotics, or they're resistant to them and have formed ways to get around them. So we'd like to use antibiotics as little as possible so that those bacteria don't get the chance to learn how to become resistant to them. And that applies not only to medicine, but also to things like cattle feed, where they sometimes put low dose of antibiotics in there to make the cattle healthier. But that constant exposure to low doses of antibiotics give the bacteria a really head start in terms of figuring out how to become resistant to our medications. So as a world, I think we want to use antibiotics as little as we need to, but we're happy to have them when we do need them. The real risk to your individual child is that the more times they take antibiotics, if they happen to be a child that's prone to develop allergies, the more times you take them, the more likely you are to develop an allergy to that antibiotic. Much like in Austin, there's a ton of folks that are allergic to cedar, but they have to be around those cedar trees for a certain number of seasons before they develop an allergy to cedars. And I would say in my practice that when I see children develop an allergy to antibiotics, it's usually the third or fourth time they take that particular antibiotic. So to review a little bit about antibiotics in general, these are mild poisons that kill bacteria that don't kill us. And I'm happy to live in a world where we have this capability, because if I have a bad bacterial infection and I'm seriously ill, having a medicine that'll come in and cut off the reinforcements to the bacteria is a huge benefit. The other thing I would throw out there is that antibiotics are indiscriminate killers of bacteria. They don't know how to go into your body and just kill the bad bacteria. So unfortunately, they'll also kill the good bacteria, primarily in our gut, which is lined with tons of beneficial bacteria. So if you do take an antibiotic, toward the end of the antibiotic, it's worthwhile to take either a probiotic or perhaps little bits of live culture yogurt to help replace and to replant, if you will, the bacteria that normally live in your gut. So that's the good and the bad of these mild poisons that don't kill us. And I hope that will help you worry less and make better decisions going forward.